Hey everyone, Lisa Freeman here from stampingwithlisa.com, and I'm here to show you this beautiful card that I'd made a couple days ago. I did it with my technique class this month and they just loved it. The technique for the month was embossing, using embossing paste. So I wanted to show you how I made this because it's super easy and it just makes a spectacular card. I don't know if you can see the glitter on here. I used the Wink of Stella to make some shimmer on those leaves. Let me see if I can catch it in the light. You guys see it? It's so gorgeous. And then I put these little gold faceted gems on there. I just think they add a really nice pop, and it kind of looks like water droplets on there. So let me show you what we're using first, and then I'll show you how to make it. So if you look in your catalog on page 147, first thing we're using is this stamp set and the matching framelits. So this is Colorful Seasons, and we're using the Thinking of You. And I think that's the only stamp, that's the only stamp from that set we're using. And then the framelits, let me show you those. So this is the stamp set, which is one of my favorites. And then here are the framelits, which mine are kind of all mixed up, but you get a whole ton of framelits and they don't really show it to you in the catalog unless you go to the back. And in the back they have them more. Where is it? Let's see. Of course I can never find anything when I'm looking for it. Here we go. All right, so Seasonal Layers Thinlits. That's the one that we're going to be using. And so I've got the leaves in there. I actually bought 2 sets of these so that I could pop out 2 leaves of each each size at a time. It just makes it so much easier because there's only 1 leaf in the thinlits. So we're using that, and then we're also using on page 197. Here are those gold faceted gems. I love these, and I guess everyone else does too because they're on back order right now. I think they're supposed to come in about a week or so. Today is August 31st, and I think they're supposed to be in about September 11th maybe. And then I also used the burlap ribbon, which is here on page 198. And then on page 201, here's the embossing paste, which we're using, the Pattern Party decorative masks, and the palette knives. So you need all 3 of these things together to do the embossing. You don't actually have to have these masks because you can create your own using some of the thinlits or framelit dies. But it's just so much easier when you have these masks here. And we're going to be using the brick wall one, which is one of my favorites because it just makes a really cool background. All right, so let's get started. Let me put my paper down so I don't mess up my space. And we're using for the, oops, I stuck to it. Marina Mist is the back piece. So this measures 8.5 by 5.5, and we're folding it in half and scoring it. And I lost my bone folder. Here we go. So just give that a nice crease and set that aside. And then the crumb cake piece is 5.25 by 4. And that's the one that we're going to be using first. So what I do is put a little piece of snail on the back of it, just a little dab, just to hold it in place because you do not want it to move while you're doing the embossing. And then you're going to set this on top here, and I just put some old washi tape that I had on the corners, because on mine, if you look at it, I didn't really do the corners here. I kind of left them open, so this piece is open, and then I didn't do all the way down to the edge, so I kind of went like this down the side of it. All right, so I've got everything straight, and you can use your grid paper as your guide to get it straight. And then this is the embossing paste, and mine's got dried up paste on the outside of it because I did it for a bunch of classes the other day. And it looks like frosting, but it, I'm sure, does not taste like frosting because it smells kind of funky. Has a, I don't know, kind of smells like paint a little bit. but definitely don't eat it and keep it away from your kids because they'll probably think it's frosting. All right, so I just got a big hunk of it with this, the palette knife, and I'm just gonna smear it on here, kind of diagonal. So I'm not going all the way into the corners on the top right and the bottom left. And then once you get it kind of where you want it, just take your knife and just scrape off all the excess. So just go right across there. And I just see a few little spots where it kind of didn't go all the way into the cracks. So let me put some more on there. All right, and then flatten that back out. And then make sure you clean your tools and put the cap back on this, because if you don't, it's going to dry out. All right, now we're just going to lift this up very carefully. And there you go. And make sure you clean this off really quickly. If you don't have the hot water, like hot soapy water right next to you, I've been using baby wipes and it's been working pretty well. So, but if you don't clean it off, then that will stick on there. All right, so then if you have some along the edge, I just kind of take my finger and wipe it down there, and that'll get it off. All right, so then I'm going to move this out of the way, and then you just set that aside to dry. It takes about maybe 10 or 15 minutes to dry. So when I did the class on it, I just had everybody do all the embossing part first, set that aside, then we went back and did all the stamping and finished it later. So by the magic of TV, I have one that's already dry. So let me just pull this in half. Actually, just let me get a new sheet because that one's kind of dirty now. All right, so we have a nice clean one. Let's just fold that in half. Okay, so now we have a nice clean sheet. All right, so this has dried, and as you can see, I didn't do all the way into those corners just to make it look kind of rustic, and I don't know, I just thought it looked cool that way instead of doing the whole sheet. All right, so first thing we want to do is sponge, and I've got soft suede, and this is one of the old pads. I like to save these old pads that we used to have for sponging. I just think they work really nice for sponging. Then you don't soak up all the ink out of your new pads. So I save these only for sponging. And I'm just going to grab a little bit of ink, get that out of the way, and just kind of go in a swirling motion all over that. Now, if it's not dried, this will start to come off. So definitely make sure you wait till it's totally dry. Okay, so there we go. So now it looks really cool. So it's not so stark white. It's got a little bit of the sponging on there to make it look old, like an old brick wall. And then these pieces right here where I didn't get them all the way, that's cool because it just looks like it's broken bricks. And so that's what the look that we want to have there. So let me put that away for a second. All right, next thing we want to do is put our ribbon on. Oops. And this is the burlap ribbon, and what I did was I cut one of these little chevrons in the end, and all I did was fold it in half, like longwise, and then just snip it with the scissors, and it'll give you that little arrow. And I want to tape this down, but I tried using snail adhesive and it came right back up. So I'm going to use the fast fuse and just put it right on my card. And oops, that kind of didn't come out really good, but that's okay. All right, I'm going to tape that down, give it a good press, and just flip it over. And don't look at that, that's just scrap paper. Oops. Of course, it stops working when you need it to. Oh. All right, we're just going to have to use snail adhesive because that's not working. All right, so put that on there and give it a good stick. All right, and then for the back of this, I want to use some dimensionals because anytime you have ribbon or something on the back, it tends to not stick very well. And these are actually the directions for my technique class because everybody who comes to class, I give them the directions and the projects. So we're just going to take that off, and I just had extra, so I just decided to use it for stamping. And pop those off, and then we're going to put that on our card, like so. And I always like to flip it over and rub it, give it a good rub. All right, so now we're going to do these leaves. And what I did for the leaves was I took some scrap paper. This is just a small piece. I had a little bit bigger piece when I did the card. But I just took this and I sponged it with the soft suede and Marina Mist. Oops. And again, I'm using my old pads. So just give a good swirl, kind of all over. And then take the soft suede, do the same thing. And you can always add another color if you want to, or go back and add more blue. I like more blue on mine. All right, so then I ran this through the Big Shot with the leaves, and when they pop out, you get your leaves looking like this. So they're really pretty. All different colors. So depending on how much brown or how much blue you use, that's what your leaves will look like. And if you don't like it when it pops out, you can always say, oh, this one's too brown, so let me add a little bit more blue on it. But it is easier to sponge it before you punch them out. Like this one doesn't have any brown on it, so let's just add a little bit. All right, so I think those look good. I'm just going to set those aside for a second. All right, and then I've got one more thing to stamp, and that's the words, the thinking of you. Oops, I want to use my new Marina Mist pad for that. And make sure you just touch it very gently. And it's hard to do this without sticking my head right in front of the camera, but we're going to try it, see if I can get it straight. Oh, pretty good. All right. And then I want to cut a little bit of a chevron into this too. And what I do is I cut straight up the middle like this, and then make a little cut to each side. And you can use, there's one of our punches you can use that does a pretty good job too. Or a square punch would work too. So, and then I want to sponge that just a little bit. Just kind of fleck the edges. And then we're going to glue that down on here using our little mini dimensionals, which my friend likes to call Barbie dimensionals, which I think is kind of funny because they're so tiny. So we've got two little teeny weeny dimensionals on there, and peel those off and put that right on top of your burlap ribbon like so. And then we're going to glue the leaves down. So I need two big ones and a small one. And you can see I did white and vanilla, but it doesn't matter what color you start with. I just used all my scrap paper because once you sponge it, it's all going to look the same. So it really doesn't matter what color you start with as long as it's white or vanilla. And I'm going to use a couple big ones and a couple small ones. Oops. Let's get those little Barbie ones too. These things have like a million. I'm still on my first page of them, and I use them all the time, it seems like. All right, so peel these off. And you just want this to look like falling leaves, so just stick it wherever you want to. I'm just gonna put one here. And I love this color combination. I saw this color combination on somebody else's card, and I just loved it because it's just not your typical fall colors. All right, let's put this one about here, and the little baby one right about there. All right, then we want to put our gems on here, and I've got a couple small ones. I'll put one here. I like to just use my fingernail to get in here and get them. One there, and then I've got a big one. Oops. And put that up in the corner. So you can see those. It just adds really a lot to that card. I've got one more thing to do. We got that shimmery Wink of Stella to put on here. So all I did was take my Wink of Stella and give it a good squeeze if it's not coming out good. Oops. Got a little bulb there. All right, and then just color the whole entire leaf. And this just gives it a totally different look. I don't know if you can see. So this one has the Wink of Stella on it. This one doesn't. And I'm not sure if you can see that in the camera or not. I'm trying to get it to get in the light. But see the shimmer on there? It just is so pretty. And we're going to do that for all 3 leaves. And if it doesn't come out good, I think I'm about on my 100th Wink of Stella pen because I use these on everything. I just think this is one of the greatest things that Stampin' Up! Ever came out with. I just love it. All right, so there we go. Then you're just gonna let that dry for a second and you're all finished. So that was pretty quick and easy. And if you punch out all these leaves ahead of time, it really saves some time. So when I have to make a bunch of these, I do all the embossing paste first, let it all dry, then I go back, sponge them all. Then I have all these leaves done ahead of time, so you just pop them on. So that's my card for today. Hope you enjoyed that and try that embossing paste yourself. It is a lot of fun to mess with. And I hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for stopping by. And if you'd like to purchase any of these products, please go to my blog at stampingwithlisa.com. And I hope you all have a great week. Thanks.